Okay, I haven't done a fish room update for quite a while. I've been making a lot of changes in here. There's been videos that I've put out in the last few weeks about how I got all the aquariums off the floor and trying to simplify this and go with some bigger tanks. So what I have going here is this first rack here has 320 longs on it. The top one basically has a nice colony of white clouds, and I purchased some of these apple snails, and I believe I have 3 that made it. I started out with 6, but anyway, that's what's in that one, and there are a few live plants in it. The second one, and I just added some fish to this the other day, I have a colony of the Gelidochromis organis. I have 2 of the larger ones which I had before, and I just purchased this batch of smaller ones. So I believe there's 8 fish in there now. They're doing well. They are getting used to each other, and hopefully we'll get some fry out of that. This down here is also a 20 long. I need to add a little more aquascaping to it. And I have an Altolamprologus calvus in there. She's right there facing us. And then yesterday I added these Daffodil bricardis, and there are 6 of them. They're fairly small, but I just added those yesterday. They're getting used to it, and like I said, I might put a little more aquascaping in. And they are doing well. The next rack that I have is one that I built not that long ago, and it has a 40 breeder on top and a 37 tall on the bottom. The 40 breeder on top this is my Gelidochromis transcriptus colony, and they're doing very well. I've actually had 2 fry out of them so far, and which is those 2 smaller ones right there. I do have some Java ferns in there, some Anubius, and I'm not exactly sure what this plant is. It's not supposed to be floating. I just never did get it planted. But I really like these fish. They're doing very well. Below that, in a 37 tall, and they have paired off, and they've laid eggs a couple of times, but the eggs have never been fertilized. So I'm not sure I have a male and a female, but we'll see. There are some Anubius in there, a couple of different ones, and then there's some artificial plants too. I do like this tank being that tall. It's really kind of a neat looking aquarium. I like the height of it. The next rack I have is the one that I redid not that long ago, a few weeks ago. And I have my 75 gallon on top and a 40 breeder on the bottom. The 75 gallon, I have my Oscar, and he is compacted. He's been that way for probably a month. I've been putting magnesium sulfate in there, and so far it hasn't worked. I hope that he continues to live. It's really concerning me, and I don't know what else to do. He was really little when I got him. My gold Severum was also very small when I got him, and he's getting real big. I also have in there a pair of green terrors. There's the male, and I believe that's a female. So that's kind of my my South American larger cichlid tank. Below that, I have a 40 breeder, and some of the rockwork needs to be cleaned off. I need to get another Plecostomus or something. Sorry, these are Altolamprologus fasciatus, is what these are. There are some Compressiceps in here too, and I don't see them. There's one. Where's he at? He's back by that filter. Right there. There's the Compressiceps. There's 6 of those in there, and then there's 6 of these fasciatus. The other thing I do have is I have a few Plecostomus bristlenose thrown in here and there on these tanks, and obviously he's not keeping everything clean. So that does it for that rack. Next rack here is a 55. There it goes, gets focused in there. I have 2 55 gallon tanks on this one. The top one is my African Mbuna tank from Lake Malawi. I don't know how many I have in there, probably about 15. There's a lot of glare in this room. Around 15 cichlids in there. They're doing very well. They're active. I try to feed them at least once or twice a day. And I like the rock work with the islands. And with the lighting I have, I don't have any algae problems to speak of, so it looks very good. The last tank that I have over here is a 55 also. This is just kind of a catch-all. I put everything in here that doesn't go someplace else. So I have a number of angels in here, some giant danios, a couple of mollies, along with some Mopani driftwood, and I did pot some plants, some cryptocorns, which is kind of neat, different way of doing it. So that does it for that 55 gallon and those two racks. This rack here, I did keep some tanks on the floor. I know I said I wasn't going to, but they're basically quarantine tanks. And so for now they are going to stay. This tank up here is a 40 breeder. And this is my planted community tank. I basically have mollies, some serpe tetras, head and tail light tetras, a couple plecostomus. There's one of them working right there, doing his job. And one of the tetras, head and tail light. Here's the serpe tetras. There's a molly back there. So this tank is doing well. I really don't have to do much to it. I need to clean the glass, I see, just a little bit. The next tank on this rack is this one here. I have a video series on setting this up recently. And this is my Amazon Biotope tank. I need to add a few more tannins, I think. It's more tannin than what the camera shows. I had a couple angels in here and I removed them because they were chasing my little Areatus pencilfish, which I put in there a couple days ago. But I have 5 of the Areatus pencilfish. They're doing well. And I'm going to also put the angels back in there at some point, and I'd like to get a little group of quarry cats to put on the bottom with my almond leaves and such. I really like this tank. I think it turned out pretty good. Okay, the next one in this one is they have a tendency to hide, but these are my sunshine peacocks. And you'll see them zipping around from place to place. There's one right there. I have a dominant male, a subordinate male, and I think 5 females. I'm having a time keeping focused on this. See, my battery's starting to get low. This tank here is a 29, and in there I have a pair of firemouth cichlids. I have them separated now, and I see she's flaring up, so I need to remove that so that they'll spawn. This one here is basically a quarantine tank. I have a beta on one side, a firemouth fry on the other. This is a quarantine tank with a few fish in it, and this is my little 10-gallon salt that I propagate plants in to feed my big system. So that is the fish room. The other wall, I'm working on a new large aquarium. I've already got it set up. I've been taking videos, and I'll be posting that at some point later. So that is my fish room tour for today. I know it was kind of quick, but sometimes my videos get too long. So I think everything's looking pretty good.